Hello, this is Ben Bishop with Maintenance Technology Systems. Today we are going to be going over the hotkeys menu for the FFT or spectrum plots. So in order to do that, I have the spectrum or FFT plot pulled up. I'm going to make sure it is the active screen by clicking on it, and then I press X. This will pull up the FFT plot hotkeys list that you can see here. Be aware that if the main menu screen is the active screen and you press X, you will get the main menu hotkeys, and we've gone over these in another video. So I'm going to just exit out of that. Again, make sure your spectrum plot is the active one, and you will get this list. And then the very last one is one that we just used, the X, is able to pull up this list. We're going to go over each of these, and these are kind of bunched in groups. We have the horizontal, vertical, axial, and peak hold are all found in the same drop down right here. If you were trying to do this manually without the hotkeys, this is where you would find these and make these changes to your plot. So to see how they work, we are on horizontal, so if I press H, nothing will happen. But if I press V, it changes that to vertical, A to axial, P for peak hold, and then back to H, and we can see how those graphs change depending on the hotkey that we press. The next group are the single cursor, harmonic, and sideband hotkeys. These ones can be found in this drop-down. We get single, harmonic, and sideband. We are currently set on single, so we can change that to M, harmonic. And then if we move this over, we can see all the rest of the harmonics coming in there. And then sideband B, we can change that. And for this one, you can set it on a particular peak and move it in and see how those are affecting the peaks. And then you can adjust these left and right, the whole group, with the left and right arrow keys. Get them right on target, and then if you need to adjust the width, the up and down keys will be able to move those either in or out from each other. So there are those, and then back to S for single. The next grouping is acceleration, velocity, displacement. These three can be found here as the top three: acceleration, velocity, and displacement. We have a couple other options that we don't use as much, but some customers like to see these units when they are looking at their data. So there is an option for those, but they're not hotkeys yet. So we are currently on velocity, which is I. We can change that to acceleration, G, back to I, and then D. And we can see how that circulates through acceleration, velocity, and displacement. I'm going to put it back on velocity. The next grouping and the last grouping that we're going to talk about is the hertz, the RPM, and the order. Those can be found in this grouping: hertz, RPM, and order, and that will change the units on the x-axis from hertz to RPM to order. So in order to do that, I'm going to press R because we're in hertz already, so change to RPM, and we can see how that changed, frequency in RPM, and then order is O, and then back to Z, which opens that up and shows us exactly what it was before. If you have any other questions or concerns, feel free to reach out or watch some of our other videos. Thank you.